Hey, welcome to another innovational production. Today I'm going to be showcasing for you the new LG smartphone. So the LG Spirit LTE, which is a mid-range smartphone running Android 5.0.1, which is the latest operating system. I got this phone as a replacement for my LG G3 because I had a problem with the G3. It was actually a fault, a manufacturing fault. I had to return that, get a refund, and I got this phone instead. This phone is actually half the price of what I paid for the G3, so you can get this for about $250. Now, what I like about this phone is that it's really compact. It's got a 4.7-inch screen, so that compared to my previous LG G3, which is 5.5-inch screen. The dimensions of this phone are 133.3 millimeters by 66.1 millimeters wide and 9.9 millimeters thick. So it's quite a compact phone. Now, the screen is supposed to be curved, and you can see the slight curvature there. But I think, you can see the curvature mainly from the way it's shaped in terms of the plastic at the back of the phone. The screen is slightly curved. If you put it flat onto a desk, you might see a little bit of a gap there. The back cover is plastic, and it's actually quite slippery. The first day I had it, it slipped out of my hand. Thankfully, onto my foot, which broke the fall and didn't break the phone. It's got quite a bright screen. It's a 720p display, so it's a 1280 by 720 display with 312 pixels per inch, and I find that quite sufficient. Apparently the human eye can only discern 300 pixels per inch. The LG G3 was like a 500 and something pixels per inch, and I really can't discern the difference. The screen brightness is actually quite fine. I have no issues with it. It's got the LG signature rear buttons, which I quite like, and I got used to when I was using the LG G3. So it's got a volume toggle, and it's got a power button or a wake up button there. And after a while you get used to it. Probably take you a few days, but it's quite good having the buttons down at the back there. It's got a rear camera, which is a 8 megapixel camera and flash. The front camera is a 0.9 megapixel camera, which is pretty bad quality, I must say. But I don't take many selfies, and I don't use the front camera that much. The weight of this phone is 120 grams, which is quite light compared to a lot of smartphones nowadays. In comparison, the LG G3 has a 149 gram weight. As mentioned, it runs Android 5.0.1, which is the latest operating system. It has a Qualcomm Snapdragon 410 processor, which is a mid-range processor used in many phones in that price range. It's got 1 GB of RAM and 8 GB of storage. Also, the good thing about it, which I like, it's got an expandable memory, up to 32 GB micro SD. Also, it has a removable back cover, which you can replace the battery, which is good. I've always bought phones with replaceable batteries. In terms of functionality, it's got the LG Tap feature, where you can tap on the phone twice and the display comes on as such, which I really like. Which means you can also use a special phone cover with a hole in the middle, and it shows you the time, which is a really cool function. The phone I find to be very responsive, very minimal lag, if any. Now, if you replace it with something like the Nova launcher, it is actually super fast. Now I'm going to check the internet browser speed. I'm going to go now to my website, which is Value Hi-Fi. Okay, it's hard typing like this. Okay, there it is, loading up. Okay, so yeah, loads up pretty quickly. Now I'm going to tell you two things that are missing from this phone, which may change your mind about buying this phone, or maybe not. Now, the first thing is the brightness display toggle. Okay. Now, this phone doesn't have a light sensor, which means you can't set it to automatic brightness. Well, a lot of phones nowadays you can, where you bring it outside and the brightness increases. You bring it indoors in a dark area, the brightness decreases. This phone doesn't have that. You have to actually, you've got the presets here, but that's not automatic brightness. So if you want automatic brightness, this phone doesn't have it. The second thing missing from this phone is that it doesn't have any LED notification lights. So which means when you receive a message, nothing lights up to show you that you have a message. So which is another feature that's lacking from this phone. But look, overall it's a fantastic phone. If you can live without the LED notification, and if you can live without the automatic brightness, it performs perfectly well for a mid-range smartphone. Responsive, compact, screen's very bright. Completely happy with this phone. So thanks for watching. Goodbye.